the Kentucky Derby.
Move around the turn. The leader, War Admiral, 2.5 for clear.
Next brigade is in the center of the racetrack. The Admiral sloop drawing alongside again.
War Emblem is still there. War Emblem is pulling away. He's got another gear.
Yeah, the sweat thing coming the Derby. Wheel away takes command.
Lion Heart is all heart. Smarty Jones is all out. And here is the first undefeated winner of the Kentucky Derby since Seattle's Low of 1970.
The excitement continues to build on the backstretch as we inch ever so close to Kentucky Oaks Friday and Kentucky Derby Saturday. It's time for the Kentucky Derby Morning Work Show here on a 5-0 Tuesday from Churchill Downs. Main track is fast, yes, fast. We have clear skies, temperature in the low 60s, another very pleasant morning here in Louisville. Let's take a look at the headlines. 6-speed breezed a half mile. The UAE Derby runner did that yesterday. Final major prep for a couple of other foreign invaders, Dan and Bourbon, and most likely Wonder Dean as well here this morning. Lovely Gray, she's going to bypass the Edgewood on the turf to run the Kentucky Oaks instead, as she did draw in the other day. Live racing in Churchill Downs at 12:45 p.m. this afternoon as we have 5-0 Tuesday festivities. Looking forward to that. Joe Christopher, and for the first time on the workout show this season, James Scully from Twin Spires. And James, always great to have you. What a Kentucky Derby and Oaks season it has been. We are now just a handful of days away. What's your overall overarching take on what we've seen with these horses leading up?
Well, I think haven't seen anything very negative. Seen a lot of positives, seen a lot of horses. It's the kind of thing where, to me, there's 6 bona fide win contenders in the Derby. As a handicapper, a very competitive race, and a kind of race I'm excited to bet.
Yeah, you think the Derby's wide open. The Oaks, they only have 14 compared to 20. That race is extremely wide open. Great betting races as well. All right, so we've got James Scully and Ren Carruthers on the show today. As we send it back to Caitlin Benson, we might not even need any morning coffee with all the energy here.
That's true, especially James Scully. Ren gets me revved up in the mornings, but James is on a whole nother level. It's not Derby week if James Scully is not in the building. So super excited to be working with James throughout the rest of the week, and good to have him on the show this morning. This is actually probably one of the nicest days we've had back here. Despite all the rain we had overnight, track is fast, so kudos to the track team to getting the track in very good shape. Japanese horses, we are going to see them breeze during the designated training time. The stablemate to both of those are countrymen. Tio Elvis, he's also going to be working during that time. He's going to be wearing a workmate saddle towel, but Wonder Dean going to go 4 furlongs and Denon Bourbon going to go 5 furlongs. So we'll catch up with them following that work. We're going to do a little bit of a deep dive during the show about the Japanese work style. I'm also going to talk to Kelly Riley there in the paddock during the simulcast so she can talk to us a little bit more. She's our international expert with Twin Spires. So excited to catch up with her, and we're going to have Ben Colbrook on shortly as our interview this morning to talk about Percy's Bar, who I like quite a bit in the Kentucky Oaks. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and send it on over to Ren Carruthers, who's on the backside with me. Good morning, Ren.
Good morning, Caitlin. It is lights, camera, and nearly time for some action here. The crowds are filling in to watch these horses put in those final maintenance gallops. And you see the trainers. Also, the horses will be out, of course, at 7:15. I talked to Jacob West of Team Rapoli. He said that Renegade will be galloping with his regular exercise rider, Norma McCormick, later on at the 7:15 time period, the window. But for now, I'm going to throw it back to you, Joe, James in the Aristides.
Well, thank you, Ren. And man, it was raining for hours and really coming down yesterday. It's amazing that we have a fast main track for morning training here at Churchill Downs as we take a look at the field for the Kentucky Derby. Just hoping to get everybody there. Of course, the AEs would love to draw in, but James, got the post positions Outside of Renegade, a lot of talk about him drawing the rail. What else strikes you here on this first page?
Yeah, being a deep closer, I don't think the rail's going to hurt Renegade as much as it would a mid-pack stalker. We've seen these grueling, taxing pace duels the last 4 years, and we got 2 speed horses in the top 10, number 3 Intrepido and number 4 Litmus Test.
As we turn the page to 11 through 20, we've got some deep closers on the outside. James, further ado, from post 18, he's got tactical speed. We're going to see our pace projector a little bit later on the show, but he has to avoid getting hung wide in that first turn.
Yeah, but being out there gives John Velasquez options, so much better than being inside. 3 outside speed horses, Potente, Pavlovian, and 6 speed.
All right, let's take a look at the AE's horses on the outside. Looking in, if we have a defection, Great White will be the first one to draw into the Kentucky Derby field. Kentucky Oaks is a wide open race this year. A lot of horses are going to take wagering attention, including the filly that the man standing by Caitlin Free will be saddling here on Friday. What do we got? Caitlin Benson.
There you go, Joe. 1 for 1 this morning. I'm pleased to be joined here by Ben Colebrook, trainer of Percy's Bar, one of the best storylines coming into both races. And for those that are aware of her story or know Percy Poole, there's a lot that probably aren't, that are just getting familiar with them for the first time. Can you give us a little bit of a refresher on all of that?
Yeah, so she was named after Percy Poole, who was a bartender at the Keeneland Mezzanine Bar and the Keeneland Sales for years, and also at Churchill Downs for, I think, 44 years. His daughter and his granddaughter got to meet her yesterday, so it was pretty cool.
She looks like a horse that when I saw her physically from the Breeders' Cup to the Ashland, she looks like she's put on a lot of weight and gotten really sizable her winter off.
Yeah, we gave her some time, just hoping that she would fill out. She's always been a real stretchy, big frame filly, and hoping that she would put on some muscle tone across her top line as a 3-year-old, and she has, and she's done really well.
Had a couple of breezes following that win in the Ashland. You're quoted as saying she kind of waits behind horses, can stop on and off, and waits for that cue from Luan Machado. With the tactical speed she has, other speed horses in the race and drawing an outside type of post, he has to have a lot of options with her with that type of style.
Yeah, that's the exciting thing about her is she can she's versatile. You can kind of almost ride her like a grass horse because she's got to turn a foot on the dirt. So I think we'll be a little more forward than we were probably in the Ashland, but I'll leave that up to Luan and see what the pace is like.
There's a lot of, as I mentioned, there's plenty of other speed in here. I've seen people kind of write her off as more speed than what she really is.
Yeah, I mean, she can kind of, she showed in the Alcibiades she can have the lead, and in hindsight, I wish we would have gone a little bit more in the Breeders' Cup. Just because the speed was it seemed like the speed was a little bit biased that day. So, we had looked at it and saw all the speed, so we kind of initially thought to take back. But in hindsight, we probably should have been a little bit more forward.
Kind of like Further Ado in the Derby, she's got a couple of wins at Keeneland, but I think a lot of people forget that perhaps her best performance came in the debutante stakes here at Churchill Downs, so she likes this track quite a bit too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was the only race where last year where she really had a clean trip. All her other trips, were kind of, she had some tough trips. Even in Saratoga, she was kind of squeezed back early, and he had to kind of make an early move. I don't think we were beating the winner that day, but, and then the Breeders' Cup, she obviously had a rough trip, and, don't need to bring up the Alcibiades again, but we know what happened there.
In post 11, with that turn coming up relatively quick at the distance, where would you kind of like to see Luan having her going to that first turn? I
mean, I think in the first group, I think, maybe third, fourth, somewhere in there, just where she can be, kind of have a chance to, get down the backside and be rolling on the turn.
All right. Well, best of luck, Ben, and looking forward to seeing her out on the track this morning.
Thank you very much.
Ben Colebrook joining me here on the backside. Percy's Bar. We're going to see her coming up shortly during the designated training time. Back over to you, Joe and James.
Well, thank you, Caitlin and Ben. And Percy's Bar, one of the major players for this year's Kentucky Oaks. And got Further Ado coming out a little bit earlier than the designated training session. James, he's been a wow horse. There's no question. Wow performance at Keeneland leading into this in the Bluegrass, and he's trained like a monster.
Yeah, really high energy horse, and you can just see his last 12 workouts. He's got a bunch of bullet works in there, fastest at the distance. His stablemates aren't quite as flashy in the morning.
From a horse that's going to show tactical speed to a horse that should be out the back early, Golden Tempo. He ran through the preps at the fairgrounds, James, he was third in the Louisiana Derby, but I thought that was the best race he ran in New Orleans this winter.
Yeah, I thought the blinkers helped him in the Louisiana Derby, and I think second time blinkers for Golden Tempo. He's one of those horses. He's going to drop out the back, hoping for the pace, and he's going to try to come rolling.
He's been training well going into the Kentucky Derby as well. Cherie DeVos, first Kentucky Derby starter. And for more on Golden Tempo, I'm going to send it to Ren Carruthers. Does he have the pedigree to get a mile and a quarter, Ren?
Oh, he definitely has the pedigree to get a mile and a quarter. I mean, you can see it right on the face of it. You don't have to be a pedigree expert, but let's talk about it. This is a son of Hall of Famer Curlin, who is a source of grade 1 stamina and class. Now, Curlin has yet to sire a Kentucky Derby winner himself, but he sired some runner-ups. Journalism, Good Magic, Exaggerator, and actually Good Magic, he went on to sire a Derby winner in Mage, and another one of Curlin's sons, Keen Ice, who won the Travers, he went on to sire Rich Strike, who pulled that giant upset a couple years ago. So, not without reason that he can get an actual Derby winner himself here. Now, if you look at the bottom side of the pedigree, this boy is out of grade 3 winner Carumba, and she's a daughter of Bernardini. Bernardini was champion 3-year-old, son of AP Indy, and anything Curlin over AP Indy, very potent. Those genetics like to click together, okay? But another thing that you don't see, and this is the cherry on top for this horse's pedigree, he is from the direct family of one of the most exciting horses we've seen in modern times. I'm talking about Flight Line. So we'll see if Golden Tempo gets enough runway to take off right into the winner's circle, guys.
Well, thank you, Ren. He's going to be making his move late. There's no question about that as we continue to see some Oaks and Derby horses come on the racetrack a little bit earlier than the designated training time. We will have that at 7:15, about 20 minutes from now. Further ado, James, he's been coming out early on a lot of these days, so this is no surprise.
Yeah, and everybody wanted to see how he trained at Churchill. He didn't run as well in the Kentucky Jockey Club as he did breaking his maiden, but he's shown an affinity, at least in the mornings, for the Churchill down surface.
No, good energy in this gallop. I mean, he's doing everything you want. Might be sitting on his biggest race yet, and that's difficult to say given how well he ran in the Bluegrass. All right, let's switch gears over to 6 Speed, who had a breeze yesterday. Jake Ballas saying the other day that, yeah, he's going to go forward, but he doesn't necessarily need to be on the lead. James, your thoughts on the runner-up from the UAE Derby?
This is Bubhat Samar's second Derby starter. His first one, Summer is tomorrow. Set the pace and weekend to run last. I don't know if Seymour knows how to put speed in these horses because he was an assistant back in the day for Bob Baffert, but I don't know if he's going to go all out like Summer is tomorrow. He's definitely going to be early, though, in the race.
Caitlin Benson has some good insight on these foreign horses. What did you see from 6 Speed yesterday, and what are your overall impressions, Caitlin?
6 Speed definitely has kind of settled down a little bit. One thing that I did want to talk about was his schooling in the paddock the other day. He's looked good on the track the way he did this morning when he put in this workout yesterday, but when he was schooling in the paddock, he was not on his best behavior. So I think he's going to be a horse that we are going to look to see schooling in the paddock over the coming days. We're going to see a few more today. I believe So Happy is also scheduled to school. So looking forward to seeing more of him in the paddock, getting used to his surroundings. But I think he's gotten more and more relaxed every day, and it's evident based on this work that he's kind of really settled into his surroundings here.
Declan Cannon aboard for this work. A very nice work from 6 Speed yesterday, even better than the time would indicate. So after this work, we caught up with both the trainer Bhupat Simar and Declan Cannon.
Final work is done. It's exactly what we wanted. We wanted anywhere between 48, 49. He's a fit horse. We just needed some just a maintenance breeze. And that's exactly what we wanted, and that's exactly what we got. We wanted to be on the outside because he's a very pacey horse, and we didn't want to be stuck on the inside where someone else is putting pressure on us. So we have more options going, staying out. I mean, Authentic's won from 20, so 17 is not too far off. One day that record's going to be broken. Hopefully it's going to be us. He's a beautifully striding horse. He's got a long reach on him. And I exactly say the same thing. He's not very big, but so was Northern Dancer wasn't very big. Dubawi, one of the best stallions in the world. Frankel, they're all they're big horses. They're robust, but they're not 17 hands. So I think some good things come in nice packages. Not small, but decent packages.
Each day he's been here, I've seen an improvement in him. He was very relaxed through the work, and it was very smooth. He went out in 101 and did it the right way, so very happy with him. He'll probably walk tomorrow, gate school Wednesday, and then from there on it's, probably just another maintenance gallop.
Declan Cannon, excellent jockey here at Churchill Downs. Also gives a lot of great feedback. He's got a lot of international connections, and he's been partnering up with 6 Speed since he arrived. From a maintenance work to one of the more blitzing works we've seen here at Churchill Downs the last couple of weeks, Potente got a lot of turf stamina on the dam side. I think he's bred, like Ren Carruthers mentioned the other day, to get the 1.25 miles, but James Speed has been the name of his game.
Definitely in two of his 3 starts, Potente has shown high speed from the start, including his runner-up effort in the Santa Anita Derby. He only has 3 starts, didn't get going until January 31st. I think he is still a very promising, talented individual, but I'm a little worried the Derby might be too much too soon, Joe.
57-4 outside of a work made here. We saw a couple of very fast works, and Trepido also went very quick on this morning. Now, the track has been fast. James, your level of concern, because I kind of sneakily like this horse a little bit. I thought he was very game in the Santa Anita Derby, although he lost to So Happy. Your level of concern with just how fast this work was.
Not too concerned. Baffert's known for putting these fast works in them, and the horses doesn't take anything out of them. Definitely getting over the track well, and if you like Potente, you didn't come out of this race workout disappointed.
There you see Potente on the outside, and he went fast, man, but he did it all seemingly well within himself. You see a little nudge there as he goes into the turn and continues very, very, very nicely here. And the gallop out. Huge work in advance of Kentucky Derby 152. Bob Baffert's got Potente. He also has Litmus Test, late draw into the field. There was a lot of hype on this horse earlier in the spring. He didn't necessarily live up to it. His most recent start, he kind of got off to a slow start and hung wide that particular day. He's probably better than what we saw.
Yeah, I thought his comeback effort was a little disappointing, but he had trouble in the Arkansas Derby. Hasn't run back to his races last year, but he's putting blinkers back on. Could be a pace factor from the inside litmus test.
To see him schooling at the starting gate. They school at the starting gate. They school in the paddock, leaving no stone unturned here at Churchill Downs in preparation for the Kentucky Derby. Bob Baffert was back last year. This will be his 2nd consecutive year back here at Churchill Downs for the Kentucky Derby, and we caught up with him about his 2 entrants for this season.
I didn't want him to go off as fast as he did, and I should have had him on the inside. But then once I realized how fast he was going, I had the radio. I said, "Hey, whoa, boys!" And so he took, but he had a hold of him, and but they had a tailwind. But he was doing it well, and then he came back well, and you could, I think the Santa Anita Derby was a really hard, tough race on him, and he needed that. He's a big, heavy horse, so and he looks good today. He came out of it well, and that's the most important thing. And he broke really well, and he was all of a sudden he found himself in the lead, and he wanted to take back because you don't want to do that at Santa Anita. So, and then there was a horse just pressing, so he just stayed where he was. But I think we learned a lot about him in that race, and so going a 1.25 miles here, you still have to break well, get him in a nice spot, get him in this nice rhythm. If you can keep your horse in a nice rhythm, but if they have to check once, forget it. They're going to stop. By the 1/2 mile pole, they'll stop. He didn't want to be in the lead, and Pratt came back and basically said he needs a target. He'd be better with a target, and maybe quite not that ready that day. Got a little tired. So then we decided to take the blinkers off and give him a target. But then I think he was too far back. It wasn't the rider's fault, but I think he wants to be. He needs to be sort of up front, close, not on the lead, but just following, But he doesn't like. I'd rather him been drawn outside. He doesn't like to be inside.
tied with Ben Jones, James, for the most Kentucky Derby wins with 6. 2020, the most recent. I mean, we all know about Medina Spirit winning the race, getting disqualified. Looking for number 7 here this Saturday.
Yeah, really remarkable. Has the most Triple Crown race wins, as well as Bob Baffert. Won 3 in a 6-year period, came back 13 years later and won 3 more in a 7-year period.
The Puma, same connections as Mage, who won the Kentucky Derby a couple of years ago. Winner of the Tampa Bay Derby. You know, he's another horse that likes to rally from off the pace. Ran every bit as well as Commandment. I thought James in the Florida Derby just got caught on the finish line despite having not the greatest of trips. Tough not to like him, at least to some extent.
Absolutely. Gustavo Delgado came to U.S. when he was 60. It took him 2 starts to figure out how to get a horse to peak on the first Saturday in May, as Mage did a couple years ago. And I think the Puma is better than Mage. I think he has more gears. He was coming off a 3-week layoff in the Florida Derby. He ran huge. I think he can take another step forward, theoretically, in the Derby.
And that's probably why James have kind of been easy on him. He's not going to have another work leading up to the Derby after the big work last week, which is even better than it looks on paper.
He's
slow
fit.
Early, fast late.
Yeah, he's fit. And the thing about his gallops last week, they weren't doing too much. They don't have to. They're building towards Saturday. So I expect him to do a little more each day this week as he gets geared up.
Renegade, the 4-1 morning line favorite from the rail, has only been here for a couple days now. And, you know, tough to argue with how well he ran in the Arkansas Derby. Probably the most explosive prep we have seen. He checks all the boxes. He's bred to get a 1.25 miles, James. And your thoughts on Renegade? And again, we talked about the rail.
Yeah, I think he's been much improved this year. He showed class at 2, but has come back and been much faster, has a powerful turn of foot. A little bit worried he had trouble in the Arkansas Derby, a little bit of trouble going into the far turn, and then he veered out in the stretch when clear. So I want to see these horses run more straight than he did in the stretch of the Arkansas Derby. But super talented horse. Looks like he's sitting on his best effort, 3rd time out this year in the Derby.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him on the racetrack today. He seems like he's got good energy. I want to see some more energy from him today. He's been my top pick for 2 months. The rail, the fact that he hasn't been here. I'd hate to switch, and I don't think I'm going to, but I want to see some good energy from him in the next couple of days leading up to Kentucky Derby 152. All right, James, pace makes the race. Take a look at where these horses were when they hit the quarter pole in recent Kentucky Derbies, and Rich Strike came from out of the clouds. Mage was a little bit further back. Sovereignty was in a good stalking position, but you want to be in position at the quarter pole to win this race.
Yeah, they say the Derby is won on the far turn, and you had Sovereignty. He was way back towards the back early. He made up all that ground on the far turn to get 4th by the quarter pole. So yeah, you're going to be prominent typically by the quarter pole if you're going to win.
There's a second page again, the deeper closer from Big Closer, Mind That Bird in 2009. Orb, I'll have another one a little bit further back. Again, but having tactical speed, at least positional speed, can be an advantage. Let's take a look in the stretch run where these horses were. And it's tough to get up in just the nick of time, James. You want to strike the front in the stretch and hold off those late closing rivals. Again, Rich Strike was 3rd in the stretch, but made a big move to get there.
Yeah, and you don't see a lot of time. I think Rich Strike was more the exception. Typically, you're in first by that point. He's that rare winner that got up in deep stretch. Typically, you're going to be, everybody's tired by the stretch run, so you want to be going in a good spot by then.
Kevin Kilroy and I put together a pace projector for this year's Kentucky Derby, and James, it's kind of hard to sort some of these horses out. We had to use 5 categories this year. These are the horses that we expect to show speed out of the gate.
I think 6 Speed and Pavlovian are definitely sending hard. Now, one of them doesn't make the lead. It could be Patente, could be Litmus Test, but yeah, we're going to have some horses that are going to be sending hard from the gate, and those are your 4, I think, of the 5 candidates.
Let's take a look at the next page here. This is These are the horses that want to press the early pace. And Trepido, based on that work, he might be a horse that needs to be in the first category, James.
Yeah, and Trepido was on the lead in his maiden win and in his first race back this year. And given that work, hard spun-esque, I wouldn't be surprised if he just breaks running and puts himself right up there from the start.
So happy he's shown tactical speed in all of his races. Taking a look at the next page here, Stalker, Tracker, the next category of horses that aren't going to be too far off the back, James, but are going to likely be a little bit further out of it on the backstretch.
Yeah, the start's important for all these horses. They got to sort themselves out in the opening quarter mile to get like in that mid-pack trip. They don't want to get shuffled too far back. Chief Wallaby with blinkers first time on. I do expect him to be closer than he has in previous starts.
All right, let's take a look at the next page here. These are our closers. And we haven't even gotten to the deep off the pace closers yet. These horses are going to come from out of it, James, but have the opportunity to get the first run on the real deep closers.
Yeah, I mean, typically these horses are all 100% classified right. Now, it's going to be a little bit of a jockey's game, whether, where they'll be actually positioned from the start, but there's definitely a chance that they're going to be back towards that 15th, 16th range.
And the deeper closers, these are the horses that are documented to come from far out of it. Silent Tactic, Golden Temple, Full Effort, and Right to Party.
No point taking any of these horses out of their best run style. Their best run style is to go way far back and make one run, and I guarantee you, I don't think any of these four will be anywhere close to mid-pack.
We're going to take a look at Great White here. A few years ago when Rich Strike won the Kentucky Derby, James, we didn't give him enough coverage, to say the least, on this show. He was an AE, drew in at the very last minute. This is the potentially lucky number 21 this year. Great White, who's been a synthetic horse. You're seeing a lot of energy from him there. Of course, John Ennis would love to have his first Kentucky Derby starter.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Right now in the main body of the field, we got 4 trainers who'll be making their first start. But Great White, I mean, look at him. And he is a huge horse, much bigger than your typical thoroughbred.
Yeah, and he was proven to be a little bit overmatched in the bluegrass, right? I mean, he showed a little bit of speed, got overwhelmed. They can always go back to the turf or the synthetic. Things don't work out for him. There's been several horses that have done that.
And he might prefer a little bit of a mile type distance. So, right. But yeah, if you can get in the Derby, I would go for it every single time.
Yeah, right on, John Ennis. I mean, his career has really ascended the last few years. This would certainly be a nice mark for his barn to hit. All right, we'll talk some Kentucky Oaks. Wide open Kentucky Oaks it is, as you see the renovation going on before the designated training time, which is now just moments away. We're going to talk some Kentucky Oaks here on the Kentucky Derby Morning Workout Show in just a few moments as the show rolls on. We'll be right back.
When it comes to horse racing, you can never have too much information. With Twin Spires, you can place your bets with confidence, whether you use handicapping insights like our Brisnet speed ratings, prime power, and past performances, the guidance of our experts' top picks, or just choose a name that catches your eye. Yes! No matter how you pick your horse, bet with Twin Spires. And now you can race to victory with Twin Spires tournaments.
Elegance is an attitude.
Quick correction on what I just said about John Ennis. He did have Epic Ride running the Kentucky Derby. So I just wanted to correct that. I thank Caitlin for that information. And these are the 2 Japanese contenders, along with 6 Speed. He kind of fits in a different category, but Dan and Bourbon and Wonder Dean, looking very forward to them getting some action as they're currently in the chute, awaiting their opportunity to stretch their legs. Here at Churchill Downs, James, let's shift gears from the Kentucky Derby Over to the Kentucky Oaks, wide open race on Friday. Zany, lukewarm 4-1 favorite coming off of a loss in her last start to Percy's Bar. But I would say that, there are 3 or 4 that could go favored. There's a lot of these that are going to be single-digit odds.
Definitely, and I think Counting Stars could be lower than 8-1. I do think Zany will make a bid for favoritism, though. I think she got a great setup in the Ashland, even though she's coming off a runner-up effort.
Yeah, I mean, she was 3-1 in the only Kentucky Oaks future wager pool. Now, that was before the Ashland.
Right.
Give Nick a lot of credit for making her the favorite coming off a loss. Another horse that's going to get some attention is Explorer. Now, she's scratched out of the last Oaklawn prep. She came down with a little bit of a fever, James. She seems to be coming into this race the right way, but early on in the Kentucky Oaks season, she was one of the major players, and I think she still is.
Yeah, I think so. Only missed 3 weeks of from the work tab Explorer due to that fever, missed her prep in the fantasy, and we'll see her really go fast. I mean, 58.8, that's a fast 5 furlong breeze. Back class, tactical speed, like Joe mentioned, just has to work out a trip. I don't see her contesting for the early lead. Maybe those will be the tactics given the rail draw, but it is a little bit tough draw for her run style.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that could be a tough draw, could be a great draw. If she breaks well from the starting gate, she could sit right in behind those other horses that are going to go forward. We'll take a look at the Oaks pace projector later on this show to kind of take a closer look at that. But Explorer coming off that win in the Honeybee, this is a nice work for her. And we're going to see some tactical speed from her for Bob Baffert. And Flavian Pratt has the mount here. He's got emerging market in the Kentucky Derby. We caught up with Bob Baffert again about one of his Oaks contenders for this year, major player. Nice gallop out here.
Her work was great. I loved her work yesterday, but when you have the one hole, you have to use them a little bit harder, and so she's going to have to break well. If she doesn't break, then we might be in trouble. But she's doing well.
I would have liked to have seen her figs be a little bit higher this year.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to have seen her run in that last prep, but she seems to be flourishing.
Yeah, she looks great out there.
She certainly does. So it's going to get some play. She's 6-1 in the morning line. As Caitlin alluded to earlier, and Ren, the energy's really picking up on the backstretch. A lot of the TV crews, radio crews, a lot of media, as it is 5-0 Tuesday at Churchill Downs, designated training period right after this.
When it comes to horse racing, you can never have too much information. With Twin Spires, you can place your bets with confidence, whether you use handicapping insights like our Brisnet speed ratings, prime power and past performances, the guidance of our experts' top picks, or just choose a name that catches your eye. Yes! No matter how you pick your horse, bet with Twin Spires. And now you can race to victory with Twin Spires tournaments.
With over 200 flavor notes to discover, every sip of Woodford Reserve Bourbon is a spectacle for the senses.
There you see Bob Baffert, Explorer, obviously Litmus Test, and Potente for the Kentucky Derby. Thank you, James. Kentucky Derby morning workout show presented by Twin Spires has returned. And lots of attention given to Bob every time he's here at Churchill Downs, particularly leading up to the Oaks and the Derby. We've got the designated training time upon us here at Churchill Downs. Looking forward to the Japanese contenders, Dan and Bourbon, and also Wonder Dean. We saw them in the shoot a little bit earlier. We should see some heavy lifting, not too heavy lifting from them, as they are scheduled for published breezes today. There you see Great White And right now, he's on the outside looking in when it comes to the racetrack.
Look how much bigger he is than that filly behind him.
Yeah, he's a big boy. I mean, aptly named. Great Whites trained by John Ennis. As you see him.
Cherie DeVoe has a Golden Tempo in the field. Big crowd out there.
Caitlin, you got a good view. What's going on down there?
Well, there's a big crowd out here to see these horses on the Lucas Gap. When a lot of the crowd walked up, he gave a couple of nays, couple of whinnies, just pleasing his public. They're Great White. He's a horse with a pretty nice personality. I've been around him a decent bit. He's a pretty cool horse to be around. Obviously huge. We got a couple other horses back here. Of course, the Riley Mott contingent. They're over here. Intrepido. He's over here. We got the Japanese horses. Pashmina has been over here quite a bit. Lovely Gray. A few other Oaks horses. Percy's Bar is also in the gap here. Pavlovian. So Happy. So big contingent over here in the Lucas Gap, and quite a lot of people over here waiting on him.
We're waiting on him too.
Yeah, so happy the rain came overnight, cleared out for a great morning here at the Downs.
Crazy night last night.
That lightning show.
Oh, and the track's fast, and I'm hearing the turf. We were questioning whether or not we're going to be on. I'm hearing the turf might be rated firm for racing today.
Last night I thought for sure it was questionable whether there'd be any turf racing.
No, I mean, that's turf. We know it drains well, and we've had days where we said to ourselves, man, it's questionable. We might be on where it's firm, and that's apparently, don't quote me on that, but that's what I'm hearing. We still got several hours before
such a fast drying track, and it's still small chance of rain later on, but we're definitely going to be fast, ready to go for the opener, and mud will not be an issue, hopefully.
Yeah, horse players certainly love when we have fast conditions, on the turf, firm conditions. And James, that moisture in the racetrack does the track a little bit of good, tightens it up quite a bit.
It does, and there'll be the track doesn't always play the same during the week as it does on Derby Day, but hopefully the rain stays away and they can get it in perfect shape.
Dan and Bourbon, Wonder Dean on the track. I am definitely taken by Dan and Bourbon, who's in the screen now.
Yeah.
Watching those replays, he was visually impressive. Now, he was going the wrong way.
Right, he's going right-handed. He's going to be going left-handed for the first time. But anytime you have a horse wins his first 3 starts by 28.5 combined lengths, he's a good horse. And he doesn't have the resume of Forever Young, who had run 5 times. He's only run 3. But it's really good to get eyes on him because he's an unknown. One thing he does have is tactical ability. This is old school, too. Horses used to blow out 5 furlongs on Tuesday before the Derby. Now all the American horses get their work done by the weekend. We'll see Dannon do an old school type preparation for the Derby this morning.
I saw a video from one of the local TV stations yesterday. It was a montage, and Kevin Kirstein picked Dan and Bourbon to win the Kentucky Derby. I'm like, man, that came a little bit out of left field, but when KK talks, I listen. He's got his ear to the pavement on the backstretch, and I haven't seen enough of this horse, in the flesh training. To make a decision either way, but he certainly looks like a major player based on what we've seen in his works. But you mentioned a little bit less experience than Forever Young. Maybe he's not as good as Forever Young, but not many horses are.
And we've heard other people talk about it. He also hasn't had to overcome much adversity. He's had really good trips in all 3 races.
On the lead, the first one.
Right, and then sitting in the clear on the outside in the next 2. Post 7 is a great post for him. Hopefully he can get out there, get that trip like Further Ado, and we'll see his best run.
Yeah, he's much bigger than Wonder Dean. Caitlin, I'm excited about seeing what these horses are going to do this morning.
Yeah, me too. One thing that I wanted to touch on, you guys were talking about Dan on Bourbon, potentially with comparisons to Forever Young. So there was another Japanese horse that ran in the Forever Young Derby that finished 5th, Teo Password. This is who this horse reminds me of just a tad bit more. Forever Young is a once-in-a-generation type of a horse. Dan on Bourbon is very, very good. Teo Password was too. He came in 2 for 2 into the Derby, ran 5th. I think this is a horse with a similar type of a resume coming in. Granted, this isn't as tough as a Derby as Forever Young ran in, just in my opinion. So so I don't think he has to be a forever young to run really, really well in this race. But as they get ready to put in a couple of works here. Dan and Bourbon going to be timed at 5 furlongs, Wonder Dean at 4. I would encourage people who are unfamiliar with what they do at the beginning before they get ready to go into a work where they do the circling. Look up Miho Training Center, look up Rideau Training Center over in Japan. You can watch footage from there. You will see the way they kind of spin and do the figure eights and the track work. Every horse on the track does that. That is how they warm up. I would definitely encourage people here in America to get familiar with that training style because you're going to be seeing a lot more here.
See the people gathering in the background. Thank you, Caitlin, for Dawn at the Downs, open to the public to see these horses train. And look how up close they are to two foreign horses that travel from overseas to run in the Kentucky Derby, James. I mean, if you're a fan, you see all the cameras out. This is just a great opportunity.
Yeah, great insight from Caitlin there. T.O. Password had only had 2 starts. He has the best finish from a horse in his 3rd career start in the Derby since 1937, breaking from the rail, and he broke poorly. Hopefully, Dan and Bourbon gets a much better trip than T.O. Password did.
Wonder Dean defeated 6-Speed in the UAE Derby. Tactical Speed, it was far, far back to the horse that ran 3rd. But in talking to Kelly Riley, who follows this stuff much more closely than I do, she said, that race may have lost some of its luster because a lot of the top Japanese didn't go because of the war concerns.
Yeah, and there was another speed horse in there, and he didn't break. And even Pyromancer took a lot of money, didn't fire, I thought, his best effort. So a little bit tough read on the UAE Derby this year because of extenuating circumstances.
Leading the 2 Japanese there is Dan and Bourbon's, has that little pink ball on the top of the cap there. Wonder Dean is the other horse near the gray pony. And, they're just taking a leisurely stroll around here before they're going to break off further works. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, James, because like Caitlin mentioned, it's unconventional. We started to get a taste of this a few years ago. I don't think I'll ever get used to it, but I'm more used to it now.
Yeah, it was crown pride for me when he showed up 4 years ago and trained for like 2 weeks over the track. Nobody had ever seen anything like it who didn't follow Japanese racing or training. And now we're getting a little bit of veterans of it, Joe. With the international participation up to 3 runners this year, seeing different types of training styles in the race.
No doubt about it. And then obviously Forever Young just missing a victory by a nose.
Dan and Bourbon.
All right, so here is Dan and Bourbon. He is solo. If we got Caitlin again, we'll throw it to Caitlin. What are we expecting from this work?
So there's been some talk in some of the other maintenance gallops and even a breeze that Wonder Dean put in that these horses have bolted. That's not an accurate statement. These horses are going to start off a little bit slower, and then they're going to really push in to that final furlong into the gallop out. So he's not going to be asked a lot in this work here. They're intentionally kind of holding him back a little bit. Then they're really going to let him take off as he finishes up the work. A lot of times at these training centers in Japan, you're going to be going uphill. You're going to be going over sand. You're going to be going over wood chips. So a flat conventional dirt surface with a turn is something that is foreign a little bit to these horses. So as you can see, maybe going to quicken in just a little bit more on Dan on Bourbon coming up here very, very shortly. Just kind of a little bit more leisurely at the beginning of this work, but in the concluding stages, he's going to start to quicken just a little bit more, still a little bit on the slower side. They may not be asking quite a bit from him today. He has picked up a little bit of speed as the rider kind of moves the hands just ever so slightly. He'll kind of gallop out strongly. He's picking up speed here to conclude the portion of the work, but they're not going to ask these horses a lot. In these time breezes, they're going to have strong gallops, and they're going to push out here to the end to get a good gallop out on this breeze, but it's not going to be a fast time. It's going to be a time that kind of looks a little bit off as compared to what we see American breezes timed as, but don't let that worry you. This is very conventional.
Yeah, we're 4.5 days out from the Kentucky Derby. They certainly don't want to do too much, and this is all part of their plan, James. Again, at this point with Dan and Bourbon, unlike what we saw, with 6-Speed and Wonder Dean previously, especially Wonder Dean was really asked down the lane. This horse is not being asked, but he is handling the ground very nicely. You're going to see a nice gallop out. It'll be interesting if this is timed. I'm guessing it will be, but This is definitely a stamina building
maintenance
for sure. And they're going to keep going here, in the gallop out and just make sure he finishes up well.
Yeah, I mean, he, like you said, you didn't see the jockey moving their hands like they did on his workmates in the stretch. Definitely picked up the tempo, though, like Caitlin had talked about. But just a very, I thought, maintenance-like type work. Didn't want to do too much.
Kevin Kirstein reporting that he does believe these Japanese horses might go to the gate after these respective breezes. See Dan and Bourbon finishing up this work here this morning. He hasn't been on the grounds as long as 6 Speed and Wonder Dean, who's been here for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, and we've got our eyes on Wonder Dean repeatedly, and I thought 6 Speed has looked good also on the track.
We're gonna have Wonder Dean's work here in a moment. In between, we've got Chief Wallaby. We'll be putting the blinkers on for Kentucky Derby 152, but not training in them, James, and another very high energy gallop. Love what I've been seeing from this horse.
Yeah, definitely Chief Wallaby. That is a chestnut, I thought. But definitely he's done extremely well, and he's worked so well in the blinkers and talked about it. He turned his head a little bit in the stretch of both the Fountain of Youth and the Florida Derby. Maybe lost focus a little bit in the second one, the Florida Derby. Maybe the blinkers will put him more in the race early and keep him more focused for that stretch of the finish.
All right, this is Wonder Dean moments ago. And we're going to throw it back down to Caitlin again. A little bit more high energy and maybe wants to go a little bit more, but still, seemingly under control here, Caitlin, when you compare this to what we saw from Dan and Bourbon moments ago.
Yeah, he's definitely under control here. The rider's not having to really tug on him too much. I'd say he's actually pretty relaxed. He's actually, this is one that was just on tape. He's actually kind of back over in the chute where I was. They're going to gate school with these horses coming up very, very shortly. So that's not something we would see at all here in America. Put into work, then go over and gate school. Something that's just a little bit different. But same thing as we saw with Danon Bourbon. This is a horse that's kind of just easing into this work. He's going to go a little bit shorter than Danon Bourbon did. And then it's going to kind of pick up the tempo as they go. The rider's going to let the reins out just ever so slightly, give him a little bit of a cue that he can slightly pick it up just a little bit more. See, he's starting to pick it up there, and the reins kind of move out just a touch there. The hands kind of switch a little bit on this horse, but he's not going to do too much. He doesn't look like he's really trying to fight against the rider at all. This is just very, very maintenance for a horse like Wonder Dean, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this once again from both of these horses before we head on into the Derby. This is Tuesday. These are horses that like to be really, really fit heading into the race, so this is something that's definitely a little bit more commonplace for them as he continues to up the ante here in the concluding stages of this move.
All right, there you see Wonder Dean. Again, this is good energy, James, and there, some question. I don't think that was Chief Wallaby we saw moments ago.
No, I don't think so.
Because he's a bay, and that was a chestnut.
Yeah.
But again, sometimes tough to identify. Yeah. Emerging market maybe, and we do apologize for that. But again, good energy here, nice gallop out. I mean, he's just doing his thing. I mean, I don't think he can take anything away from Dan and Bourbon or Wonder Dean. They both did, very, very similar leg stretching this morning.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's great is all three horses, 6 Speed, Wonder Dean, and Dan and Bourbon, you can go find the videos of their races, and you can watch them.
YouTube, just do a search.
Yeah, on YouTube, do a search, and that's what I would encourage anybody who's wondering about who these horses are, what they're about, because you're not going to be able to tell a lot from their past performances. They're not the same as American PPs.
Yeah, we've confirmed that was emerging market, James. Good call by you. Dan and Bourbon, 28-3, 52-2, 52-4, 106. Wonder Dean, 14-2, 28-1, 54-3, 108-2, and that's not for 6 furlongs, James. That's the gallop out for 7.
For 5.
For 5, There's Renegade, again, training solo. Get to see some good energy from him this morning. And again, he's only been here for a couple days. Kentucky Derby, 4-1, morning line favorites. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, I mean, very classy individual. Look at his head. He's got his ears forward, enjoying himself out there, it looks like.
Todd Pletcher, Mike Rapoli, well documented. Mike's tough luck in the Kentucky Derby, to say the least, having at least 3 horses scratched in the days leading up to the race. We remember Uncle Mo being one of those several years ago. And, you know, Renegade again, most explosive Kentucky Derby prep win that we've seen, has to try to work a trip from the rail for Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, that's a whole key, is the trip he gets. You know, the Derby isn't the same every year. That crush, when they go into a turn, it's a left-hand turn for the field. Sometimes they come over harder than in other times, and then that'll be the key for Renegade, because I do think he wants to be ahead of like horses like Right to Party, Golden Tempo, and Silent Tactic.
Just a couple of years ago, too, Forte was a late scratch as the morning line favorite.
Yeah.
Outside looking in, Oselli, he's still a maiden, and when he runs on a maiden race, he's going to be the odds-on favorite, you would guess.
Absolutely, and I did like the move he made in the Wood Memorial. Couldn't sustain it all the way to the wire, but that was a big improvement upon the Sam Davis and Virginia Derby. A little bit of a question for me with a 10 furlong, 1.25 mile distance, but he's a good-looking colt for Whit Beckman, and Whit Beckman, a heck of an up-and-coming trainer.
No doubt about it. Of course they want to try to get in the Kentucky Derby, and they came an inch away from running second in the Wood Memorial, Right to Party.
Right.
You know, just barely edged him out. Otherwise, you get the 50 points in the Wood Memorial, pretty much a win and you're in. He had some points going into that race.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely. Yeah, he did, and he had. But like I said, he had run good second at fairgrounds and maiden races. Took him 3 stakes before he delivered his best effort last time in the Wood. Whit Beckman, he's looking for his second straight Kentucky Derby starter. Made his debut last year with Flying Mohawk.
There you see Oselli with another nice gallop. He's made a nice impression. I mean, he's on the outside looking in. You know, you got Great White in front of him, but we've seen some last-minute defections out of the Kentucky Derby in recent years, so not without a chance to get into the race.
Yeah, and you know, whether he'll just be another deep closer in the field too if he gets in. Not like we've got more than 5 of those, arguably.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So there you see Oselli. And we got those, I guess, call them breezes. They were timed. Mm-hmm. You know, you look at those. If you're a traditional handicapper and you look like at those works, you're like, no thanks, but we know better.
We know better, and it's really, I mean, how fast did they finish? You know, that's more important, at least for the final hard work. You want to see how fast they come home to the wire if they're not a speed horse.
All right, let's shift gears from the Derby to the Oaks. 14 will enter the starting gate for the Oaks versus 20 for the Kentucky Derby. One of the most wide open Kentucky Oaks I can remember, James. And there's not a ton of early committed front runners in here. I would say Dazzling Dame, My Miss Mo are 2 horses that are almost certain to go forward.
No doubt about Dazzling Dame. I mean, she wasn't really even in the mix, but her joining the mix, she's going to show high speed, I expect. I'll tell you that Pashmina on the outside had shown some, and I thought even Brooklyn Blonde, but yeah, from the middle, those 2 are definitely going.
Well, here we go with the next category of horses, the Pressers.
Yeah.
Explorer on the inside. There you see Brooklyn Blonde, Pashmina, meaning. Kevin Kilroy and I had a discussion yesterday. We put this together, and he wanted to put Bella Ballerina in the stalking queue, and I'm like, that's what Brendan wants them to do. But until she proves that she can do it, she was on the lead in the Fairgrounds Oaks, gonna put her in this category. She is taking the blinkers off. It'll be interesting to see if she can be agreeable to what the plan is.
He's been training her to sit and not be all out, because she was like basically front running win in the Rachel Alexandra. They tried to rate her in the Fairgrounds Oaks. She's tossing her head early. You can see she did not appreciate being taken back. So there's a chance Tower won't have any options if she comes out and wants to go, Bella. And she's a grade 2 winner over the track, so, I mean, has some class, back class.
Next category here, it was interesting that Ben Colebrook said he expects to be, or hopes to be, in the top 3 or 4 early, but one of the things about Percy's Bar, she is tactical she can sit a little bit further off of it if she needs to.
And she sat off of a very slow pace last time in the Ashland and finished full of herself. I liked what Colbrick said earlier. I saw her last year. She was real leggy, thin filly, and she has definitely filled out Percy's bar. And I think 5th or 6th might be more realistic than Stalker towards a little bit like towards the back of the field.
Prom Queen should be mid-pack. Counting Stars, Search Party. Zany, she's buried in post position number 2, James. She's been a little bit green in her races. I don't know that that's a great spot for her to be in.
Yeah, she may be further back than she has Zany and previous starts just due to the speed and pace in this race, because when there's not a lot of speed on, she's not going to be too far back. The other 2 are Mark Cassie fillies, and Counting Stars has much more tactical ability than Search Party. Search Party is coming from off the pace. She hopes for a hot pace.
The pace in the Ashland was slow. Zany was up close to it. I think she wants to make one run at him late. Kind of sort of like Always a Runner. Will do, documented, winner of the Gazelle last out. And then Lovely Gray, who's been running on the synthetic. She's been coming from far off the pace in her race.
She had a tough trip in the Bourbonnette Oaks, Lovely Gray. Always a runner. What a move in the Gazelle. She's got a shot in the Oaks off of that prep.
All right, Explora, moments ago, galloping. Earlier on, we saw her work from the other day. Got some words from her trainer, Bob Baffert. And, again, the rail draw, natural speed, more time coming into this race than the vast majority of the horses in the Kentucky Oaks field. If she brings her A game, James, again, we can say this about a lot of them, she's as good as anybody.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, she was so good at 2 that I thought that she was going to take a big step forward, take a step forward at 3. She hadn't done that on Figs, and so that's my main concern with Explora.
Explorer for the Kentucky Oaks, rail draw, 6-1, coming up on Friday in prime time for the first time this year on NBC and Peacock. It's a festive atmosphere on the backstretch, dawn at the Downs with the fans. Let's send it over to Ren Carruthers.
With the team from Trinity Heights High School and their team, Pat Heights, and you guys have been clear to skip school.
Maybe. School hasn't started yet.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So, yes, right. It's early enough, right? So, tell us, what have you noticed? What have you seen? Who are your Derby horses?
I'm going for a long shot, 6-speed.
Okay.
I got Renegade. Came here on Thursday. He looked pretty good, so I'll take Renegade. I like So Happy just because of the name. I'm going Wonder Dean, a little bit of a long shot, but loved how he was running. So I like Right to Party.
You got to fight for your right to party. Okay, you guys going to be here actually for the Derby itself?
I haven't decided yet. I have not decided. We're all going to Oaks, though.
Okay, guys. All right, so is this your first experience coming out to Churchill? I know you were here earlier, but I'm saying this year.
It is. Yes, ma'am.
All right, I love it. You got to start them young. Good excuse to get excited. All right, thank you, guys, and I hope you have a fantastic time here at Dawn at the Downs.
All right, thanks, Ren. We appreciate that. A lot of people excited to be here at Churchill Downs in the mornings, and can't say I blame him, James Scully. It turned out to be a beautiful morning after that disaster last night when it came to heavy rain, storms, loud.
Yeah.
I mean, it woke me up a couple of times.
And the amount of lightning last night really had me concerned. I mean, that's the one thing that will keep the horses off the track. They can train in the rain, but if there's lightning, they won't. Everything stops. So I was so encouraged when I got here and saw that it was not raining anymore, dried out real quickly, and busy morning out there. We'll keep our eyes on them in the build up here.
Forecast calls for a little chillier temperatures Friday, Saturday, but dry conditions. James, we're going to let you carry the water here. Tell us about these Twin Spires promotions.
Yeah, I mean, any better knows this is a great promo. We're going to start, we started it on last Saturday. We're going to go through the last race on Derby Day. Every single race, Twin Spires players can get $10, up to $10 money back if their horse runs second or third. Their first $10 win bet runs second or third. We're going to give you $10 back in bonus bets. And then we also have the KDBC. It's the second annual $300 $300,000 tournament. Got some great feeders and qualifiers for that all week. Check out twinspires.com, the tournaments tab. It's our biggest tournament of the year, expecting over 200 contestants.
Thanks, James. You had some qualifiers leading up to this tournament. You qualified already. Best of luck. You can buy your way in as well. TwinSpires are big on the tournament scene these days. All right, so, it's 5-0 Tuesday. We've got live racing, shop local, great local day here at the racetrack. We want you to wear outfits from local shops and boutiques. If someone wants to give me a clothing deal, I would be glad to take advantage of that. James, you're going to be on the air with Kevin Kilroy today, and looking forward to having you give your insights.
Yeah, definitely. Louisville's Day at the races here, 502 Tuesday. We got a horse from the Derby in today. Owen Almighty ran 5th in last year's Derby. He runs on today's 502 program at Churchill Downs.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, all week long, these races are absolutely stacked. The Oaks and Derby Day cards are absolutely stacked. So we want to see competitive, high-class racing, which is the norm here at Churchill Downs. James, it's 5-0 Tuesday, a Derby week. Not a ton of action on the racetrack. We got to see Wonder Dean and Dan and Bourbon going through their paces. Anything catch your eye out of the ordinary this morning?
No, I thought that both international horses out there, Wonder Dean and Dan and Bourbon, look good on the track. Just, trying to put together final thoughts. This is the time when we start finalizing all our opinions and how we're going to play the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We got to see a little more Renegade this morning, which is important to me moving forward. Let's send it over to Caitlin Benson on the backstretch. You got to see Wonder Dean. You got to see Dan and Bourbon. Something else catch your eye this morning, Caitlin?
They were definitely the stars of the show there this morning, putting in those maintenance works there. T.O. Elvis, I don't think we got really a shot of him. I know he was out there labeled as a workmate, but he ended up going solo. He's going to be entered in the Grade 1 Churchill Downs against the likes of Knightsbridge and Cornucopia, and he figures to be a big price in there, but he ran a really bang-up race last time. He is a very, very good sprinter that I think can absolutely grab a piece of that race at a big price. So maybe throw him into the mix. He was one that I was looking forward to seeing this morning. I did see him over there in the chute. But Percy's Bar catches my eye, as she always does. She's going to remain at the top of my Oaks list. So working out those final preparations, as James Scully said, waiting to see if there's going to be any scratches or anything of the like there. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and send it on over to Ren Carruthers. And Ren, good job this morning. Looking forward to seeing you back here later on.
Thank you. It's been so frenetic back here. The horses, I got to say, the boys and the girls, they've been handling it exceptionally well. I mean, these are young horses still. And so these crowds, it's a good preparation for them for this weekend. I saw Great White go by. Yeah, the Jaws theme did come to mind when you see him in the flesh. Patente, he could not be any fitter. My gosh, tight like a drum. Counting Stars, she really made an impression as well. But all these horses are classy. And so, I don't know, I'm just so excited to see how we size up as we get into Friday, as we get into Saturday, the actual dances. But for now, Joe and James, back to you.
Thank you, Ren. Thank you, Caitlin. Again, the crowd mulling around here at Churchill Downs, just enjoying the atmosphere of the Kentucky Derby and Oaks season. And James, just 2 more shows to go. Kevin Kilroy's going to be in the driver's seat. Tomorrow you'll be in the passenger seat once again. I'll be back Thursday. Rosie Napravnik will be back as well to give us her final thoughts. But we're going to be releasing some Oaks and Derby selections over the course of the next couple days, too.
Yes, I'll have my top 5 for both races tomorrow, and make sure you check out the work show tomorrow and Thursday.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for the Kentucky Derby Morning Workout Show. For a 5-0 Tuesday, live racing continues this afternoon with a first post of 12:45. Have a great day, everybody.